I'm Dave Greenwood, and this is Overcoming Distractions. If you are an adult with ADHD, a busy professional, an entrepreneur, a high achiever, or just need some strategies to navigate your adult ADHD, you're in the right place. Who am I? I'm an entrepreneur with ADHD and the author of 2 books, Overcoming Distractions and Overcoming Burnout. I coach and mentor people just like you, and together we navigate the ups and downs of adult ADHD. From getting out of our own way to helping people just like you thrive in the workplace. That's what I do. Want more info on working with me? Hit overcomingdistractions.com. Ready? Let's get to today's podcast. All right, people, we're back and we are coming to you not live, pre-recorded from the plush studios and headquarters of Overcoming Distractions. And this episode is once again for you, the busy professional executive entrepreneur with the busy distracted brain. Welcome. You are in the right place. So, hey, let's just dig in. I firmly believe that there is a lot of advice out there that is not ADHD specific that we can learn from. Not everything that works for us needs to be 100% designed for the ADHD brain. And there are many ADHD influencers, I'm putting my quotes up there, that are out there that probably disagree with me, and I'm totally cool with that. Disagree all you want, challenge me. That's how I live. So you may not be able to get through the entire book of Atomic Habits, if you've heard of that, by James Clear. But the main gist of the book is creating systems, consistent progress, even if it's small. And it's also about creating some cadence into your days and your weeks and your month and your business and your life and your career. So, for example, tell those of us with ADHD we need to grow sales by 50%. And that's all we're going to focus on, right? It can be scary. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you said, I'm going to grow 50%. Okay, cool. How are we going to get there? Tell us we need to do these simple and small things regularly, or tell yourself that you need to do those things on a regular basis, and it becomes so much more manageable. So I'm going to do you a favor today. I'm going to briefly recap some of the main points of Atomic Habits, the book, and how we can fit these into our ADHD brain. If you're a CEO, an entrepreneur, any other busy professional with ADHD, these tips can help you build the cadence and the systems you need to just move the needle even slowly in your favor. And to me, that's a win. So grab that win. Let me point out the obvious before we get started. As I have said before, just because we blocked out time, for example, to do something, doesn't mean we're going to do it or it's going to get done. And I know how the ADHD brain works for many of us, okay? We block out time. We say we're going to do something. We build this whole new kind of whatever for us. And it doesn't just magically happen. So don't think that I'm sitting here in a place of ignorance by not understanding that, okay? Today, as with many days in the podcast, I'm here to suggest ways to get you thinking and to solve the challenges that you may be experiencing given all the demands on your career, your business, your executive status in leadership as a family person, right? As a caregiver. So just want you to know that we're here to think and to try to solve some challenges together. Now, when I work with people individually, I meet everyone where they are. I get on these chats with people and they say, okay, what's your program? Okay, don't really have one. Everybody's different, okay? Maybe you're a CEO, maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're a sales executive, whatever the case may be. All your circumstances are different, and we need to kind of problem solve together. And if these tips sound good, but you're having trouble like trying to figure out how to implement them or make them stick, just go to the website, overcomingdistractions.com. Hit the button that says book a 15-minute chat with me. Let's chat for a few, and let's see if we're a good fit. So, all right, cool. So let's kind of break down super simplistic, because if you've listened to me, you know that that's the way I am. Simplistic, street smart. I don't like complex things. So we're going to break down some of the main pieces of atomic habits, or the theme of atomic habits, and how they can kind of work with us. The first thing is to focus on the systems, not the goals. Now, goals are the outcome, as you know. Systems are what actually get you there. And I know that most of our ADHD brains thrive with the structure, the repeatable routines. Now, not the boring routines, but the things that actually we can do on a regular type of basis or schedule to get us where we need to be. And those systems get us where we need to be. Now, I just don't think we like big, scary goals. And we need to figure out how we're going to get there methodically. So some of those examples for you are, I hear this all the time. I want, or I need to like scale the business. I need to grow sales. I need to get more whatever, okay? Maybe a system is every Monday from, 9 a.m. to 11, you're going to work on the business. Or maybe it's every day at 2 p.m., I prospect for new business for like 60 minutes. Another way to look at it is, okay, I'm going to make 50 calls a week. Okay, great. Can we break that down even further? Can I say, okay, can I split this up into several days? Can I split those calls up into 50 days? Can I go total theme day, which if you listen to me, you know I love. And can I break those calls up into, a handful of days, whatever the case may be. All right. For those of you who are in a position of busyness and authority, a lot of you want and need to delegate more. Okay? Maybe one of your systems is you just end each day and review some of the tasks that you want to delegate to your team. You can do that in person. You can do an email, put it in your Slack if you're using Slack. Use a pigeon. I don't care how you do it, okay? But more and more people I talk to and work one-on-one with have to push some stuff off their plate, and they're not utilizing the resources that are available to them. So some of you want to network more intentionally, so to speak. So maybe a system is I'm going to schedule regular 30-minute chunks of time in my schedule to maybe work LinkedIn and introduce myself to a few people or comment or maybe write a post or whatever, okay? But create these recurring calendar blocks and treat them like a non-negotiable, okay? Just have a game plan for what you're going to do with that blocked out time. Okay, the next theme of what we call atomic habits is to make it obvious. And if it is not visible, it's gone, right? Okay? You know that. You don't need me to tell you that. You don't need a famous author to tell you that. You know, if it's not in front of your face, it's gone, especially if you're working in an ADHD or an executive capacity and those two worlds are trying to work together, right? So some examples of making things obvious are, use a color-coded calendar like red. Maybe that's meetings. Maybe the blue is, deep work. I worked at a local craft brewery for a period of time because it was actually fun, and I got to get out there and meet people, and everybody was having fun having beer, right? So, but the branding was purple, okay? I created the times I had to go and help out at the brewery purple, okay? That made sense. It stuck out. Some other things that can make things obvious, drop that notebook in your briefcase, your laptop bag, whatever you're using, your backpack. Put a notepad next to your keyboard if you've got like super important things that absolutely need to be done. If there's something you need to bring to the office, literally put it in your way, okay? Without it causing injury to anybody else in the house, right? I mean, you certainly don't want to put something in the middle of your kitchen that somebody's going to break their neck on. But you get what I'm saying, all right? Leave a Post-it, a sticky note on top of your laptop to remind you of that kind of super important thing that came to mind at whatever time during the day, okay? This is street smart, okay? Use your visual cues, the clipboards, the whiteboards. Have your some people I know use a Trello board. Keep that up on your other monitor, okay? Keep things in your face, okay? Atomic Habits, part of it is making things obvious. The next part of it is making it easy, okay? And for you, the ADHD executive, business owner, entrepreneur, you people listening, understand that friction equals failure, okay? And what I mean by friction is if there's some resistance to getting to where you need to be, even if it's like making 3 phone calls, okay, then that's a problem. So things need to be easy. Streamline things, automate wherever you can possibly can. Some really cool things that I think are super effective are using voice dictation to do emails, okay? Sometimes I know the brain just doesn't connect to your keyboard. And sometimes we can always just fire up our phone or a Word doc or email, and you can use the voice dictation to actually do that. You can do that to write documents. Say you're not feeling well, you're just not up to it. Sometimes making it easy is just firing up the microphone and talking. So you can create and you can keep standard operating procedures, document those. That takes a little preparation, but it makes things so much easier in the long run, especially if there's things that you are having to repeat over and over again in your business, in your position. Reinventing the wheel every single time isn't easy, okay? I mentioned automating. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you've got to figure out a system to automate your billing or your invoicing, your follow-up calls, or whatever the case may be. Batch your decisions. Things become easier when you batch things, like choosing your clothes or kind of laying out meal prep for the week. Maybe on Sunday, we've talked about that. Those types of things. And make mornings easier by getting ready the night before. Coffee, charge the laptop, you name it, okay? Make things easy. I joined a gym 6 minutes away from my house. This super tiny tweak made a massive difference because there was less friction between me and getting to the gym, okay? Build those default modes for those common decisions because let's face it, your executive functions, they're precious and you need to conserve them wherever you can. We just talked about energy back on a recent podcast, okay? It's the same thing. Habit stacking. This actually makes things easier for, if you're busy and you're back-to-back meetings and, workload is piling up and all that stuff. Maybe you can attach a habit to a meeting or a routine or some type of thing that you do every day. For example, if you do a regular meeting with your team, maybe it's once a week, maybe it's that Monday morning check-in, whatever. Maybe after that, review your week. Review the things that you want you and your team to achieve in those next steps. Maybe you're in person, or maybe you logged off that Zoom call that you just hopped on. Instead of just jumping to the next thing, can you just recap everything when it's like super fresh in your head? Or can you jot down some quick notes instead of actually trying to recreate what happened in that meeting 3 days later? Okay, because we know how that goes. After hitting your office or after you're hitting home, just breathe real quick. Just pause the button. Just pause, okay? That's a great way to just kind of reset your tone and your mood. Something else, maybe after your morning coffee, you're just going to say, you know what, I'm just going to check in with my assistant or my team real quick. Maybe just say hello. Make sure they know you're there. And some people, after their lunch break, they just kind of take a quick review, hit the reset button, adjust the calendar for the day or whatever the case may be. Make sure you have everything you need for the next meeting. Take that pause button. Link the habits to some things that like you don't skip, like meetings, your commute, your coffee. And don't skip lunch, please. Just don't. Your energy is just going to plummet if you do. So the small wins really matter for those of us with ADHD brains. And we crave some of the big wins. But the tiny victories, the tiny little wins, I think can lead to not only success, but also that just it continue to keep your mood up, okay? Now, full disclosure, I need to remind myself of this one all the time because shit doesn't go your way sometimes, and you just have to take the tiny wins sometimes. So take it, cherish it. Let's see, what are some tiny wins? Maybe you cranked out 5 super important emails, okay? Instead of saying I procrastinated on it, you could just say, hey, that's progress. I got it done. Maybe you were able to delegate one important task to your assistant or your team or somebody else that you could delegate that to. What's another win? Maybe you stayed away from your phone for a period of time during the day. Maybe you just shut your computer or your laptop off and went home at a reasonable time. That's balance, that's self-care, that's a win. And you know what? Track the wins if you have to, okay? And fight that I didn't do enough kind of mindset, all right? Track the wins. Take it. The next thing in terms of simple habits is that kind of, I guess identity-based habits or who we are, so to speak. And a lot of times we go negative, and I'll plead guilty on this one as well. But we need to choose something that kind of serves us, our goals, reinforces that kind of behavior that you want or that feeling that you want. And I'm not Tony Robbins, okay? So, but I do believe that building a little bit of positive reinforcement with yourself can actually go a long way, because I don't know about you, but you can catch yourself really quickly just going like negative mode. So for example, I'm a focused leader who protects my energy. I'm a leader who delegates well. I'm somebody who finishes what I start, even if it's not perfect. I am a leader who creates clarity for my team, those types of things. Those are some of the things that maybe we could go negative on, but we can hopefully turn that around as a positive. When you find yourself going negative, just try to correct course. And again, I'm just going to, I am human too, and I can catch myself regularly going negative about certain things. But the more we practice just kind of going positive, I think the better we'll feel, and the more productive, meaningful productivity we'll have. Okay. Hey, and the last one, it's for sure it's not the last one, but that's the last one I have for you today, is make bad habits hard, okay? I mean, our ADHD brain or our busy brain, maybe you're not ADHD or you think you're ADHD, and all are welcome here, but we kind of chase some of that stimulation, right? So if you want to reduce the impulsivity or even that kind of unproductive type of things we do, we have to maybe increase the difficulty a little bit. And before you at me online or, as they say, I understand some of these are more difficult than others. I get it. Just because you said it doesn't mean that that it's just going to magically happen in your life. Okay? So just remember, I'm here to get us all thinking. So some people I know have removed the social media apps or the news feeds from their phone. I know people that are considering going back to a flip phone. Okay, I know. What year are we in, right? But that's what some people are starting to do, that they can't get away. And as a side note, there's so much garbage right now on social media and online, and not to have a political discussion. I don't care what side of the aisle you think. Okay, there's just a lot of noise out there. And for those of us with ADHD who need to actually achieve something, it's not super healthy for us. Okay, some of the other things that can make things difficult, maybe you got to log out of Slack or Teams or whatever you're using for a little bit. Maybe actually physically log out of it so you can actually get some of that deep work done. I know this is hard for some, especially if you're a parent, but can you keep your phone in another room? Or can you set it up so that notifications only come through for, say, certain phone numbers? Maybe it's your kid's school or your, whatever. So can you block off your calendar and make sure it says unavailable so people don't schedule things, or they know maybe not to bother you? And that also takes some education. If you're a leader and you don't want to be bothered, you need to tell people that you don't want to be bothered. And if you can't get away from it all, then maybe you just need to go somewhere else with less distractions and get that work done. So make bad habits hard, or make difficult situations easier on you by getting away from the things that are going to get in your way. So, all right, cool. Hopefully I broke down simplistically how this concept of atomic habits can assist those of us with ADHD that are in, the high achiever, the busy professional, that type of person. So, and if you are that person, then I hope that helped in some way. So, all right, gang. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been a pleasure. If you want to chat with me about working together, then again, just hit that button on overcomingdistractions.com, and we will see you next time.